Good morning, everyone. If you didn't hear me earlier, my name is Sophia Hines, and I am hosting today's new provider orientation. I am going to go ahead and get started. We have a lot of things to cover, and again, just want to say thank you for being here and being here on time so we can all uncover all the details today promptly within the next hour. So I want to also introduce my backup. Her name is Dina Crow. Speaking of what we're about to learn today, we have our objectives. So today, these are the topics I want to go over. I want to make sure that you feel comfortable leaving here today, finding the Medicaid website, knowing the basics of that Medicaid program. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Gainwell Technologies, who is the fiscal agent for Nevada Medicaid. I'm going to be navigating on the Medicaid website to show you resources such as billing guides, kind of forms pages, all the things you're going to use along your time enrolled here. I'll also show you how to access the DHCFP's website. DHCFP stands for Division of Healthcare Financing and Policy, and I'll explain who they are in just a moment. We do love acronyms here, so another one you're going to hear me say is EVS. I'm going to show you how to access EVS, and maybe if you haven't yet registered for the EVS, I'm going to show you where to click and get started there. But EVS stands for Electronic Verification System. And then we have also that EVS is known sometimes as Provider Web Portal, PWP. So I just want to, again, acronyms, you may hear me refer to it. I will try to remind you of what I'm talking about again at those times as well. Last but not least, I am going to share the contact information with you. Again, I want to make sure after today's call that you know who to contact, where to go if you have any follow-up questions. When enrolling, as well as while you're an active enrolled provider, we have policy that all providers follow. Within that policy, you're going to hear the terms or read the terms fiscal agent. Gainwell Technologies is a fiscal agent for Nevada Medicaid, and we're here to support policy as well as the mission set by the DHCFP, which is to provide quality health care to improve the health outcome, the access to care for recipients in Nevada, as well as making sure that it's the most efficient, cost-effective delivery. What does Gainwell Technologies do? So these are just some of little pictures, ideas of what we do as the fiscal agent. So for example, we help alongside your enrollment, prior authorization, provider training. Provider training is specifically my team, as well as Dina, who's on the call as a field rep. We kind of provide more one-on-one training as well as the trainings that you're on today. Managed care organizations, also referred to as MCO. Like I said, acronyms, we're a big fan of them. These MCOs are additional benefits for recipients. When a recipient is enrolled with a managed care organization, you do need to be enrolled with Nevada Medicaid first. I'm going to be showing you where to contact or the information on how to contact these MCOs and additional, follow-up if you have more questions around that. Our Medicaid website, this is medicaid.nv.gov. Dina, if you don't mind throwing that link in chat. All right, thank you so much. So Dina just put in that link. So if you do not have this page saved yet, I do recommend you have this saved. All of the links, documents, and pages that we're going to be navigating live on this site. The first thing that I want to do is kind of show you this welcome banner, this middle of our screen here. This is a kind of ongoing banner just giving us a rotation of announcements for ease of access for things going on with Nevada Medicaid and programs. The next thing I'm going to show you are web announcements. So over here on the left-hand side of our screen, we have the most recent 5 web announcements, but we're going to go ahead and click on View All. All right. On our web announcements, we have announcements as well as newsletters, so you can click on that newsletter tab as well. But right now I'm just going to focus on that announcement tab. All of the announcements and newsletters are found on this same page. And we can use a couple different ways of finding resources, documents, depending on the topic. We can use this search by category. So right now I'm in all web announcements, but if you know your provider type, you can select that from the specific category. I personally like keeping it on all web announcements, kind of giving me an overview. That way I'm just familiar with everything else kind of going on. You don't have to necessarily open them up, but you can at least see the titles and topics. You can also use the Control F feature, F like Frank, to find something or find words on this page. If you're using a different browser than Chrome, it might be a little bit different, but each computer will have some kind of find feature. So again, I did Control F and I have this box up here in the top right-hand corner. If I may be looking for web announcements pertaining to rates, I can use the keyword rate, or I can use the keyword rates, and you'll see all the web announcements that have a title that have rates in them. And then I can kind of filter through to see if they're what I'm looking for, or again, using different keywords to find those different topics of announcements that you are searching for. So first one, it looks like it just got posted yesterday. This is a great one that I'm actually didn't plan on opening, but I'm going to go ahead and open. So for those of you that, you had questions about claims, if you had, I don't know, different variety of topics, we host these workshops for training such as the one you're on right now. So this web announcement here is letting us know all of the upcoming training sessions for November. So you can see the title here, as well as the date and time. So the same place that you used to register for today's new provider orientation is where you would sign up. So if you need help with, prior authorization training or enrollment for a group, or submitting a secondary claim, or claims, appeals, adjustments, and voids, these are really great to come, join, participate as you are doing today. All right, so again, these are where you're going to find all those web announcements. It is up to the provider to come check these web announcements out. We do try to send these out as a courtesy, but it is up to the providers to be reviewing the web announcements that are posted. So I would say at least once a week coming out and just seeing if there's anything new, make sure you don't miss. The next thing that I'm going to jump to is going to be on this top right-hand side of our screen. We're going to go over Contact as well as the DHCFP home, but we'll start on Contact first. On our contact list, we have this top section here, which is hyperlinked. So if you're looking for a specific contact and you see that listed here, go ahead and just click that link. It'll take you to that section on this page. What I wanted to specifically call out on our contact, of course, we have our customer service number, and towards the end of today's new provider orientation, I will go back over to this customer service as well as the field rep team and how to contact us. But what I really wanted to pay attention to on this contact was that managed care. So I mentioned those managed care organizations. If I click that link, it'll take us straight to that MCO contact. So if you see that recipient does have one of these MCOs, then you do need to be enrolled with Medicaid first, but you will also need to be enrolled with this MCO in order to bill the MCO and not directly to Medicaid. So make sure you can find that contact. Then all the other contacts here are listed, and I will share that here towards the end on our slide as well. All right, the next thing I want to go over on this top right-hand corner is the DHCFP home. I went ahead and clicked that button there. This website is has a lot of wonderful information. Today I'm more focusing on our other website, not the DHCFP site. So I'm only going to be sharing a couple things on this page that I wanted to kind of call out and make sure we know how to access. So first and foremost is going to be policy. There's a couple ways that you could access that in these tabs up here. Easiest for me and my favorite tab I use on the DHCFP site is the Resource tab. Under Resources, I'm going to click Medicaid Service Manual, also referred to as MSM, and these are the policy chapters. So this is where all policy lives. It is part of your enrollment. So if you're not yet enrolled and you're enrolling as a specific provider type, which you should know by now what type of what provider type you're enrolling, I would definitely recommend that you come out here and find that correlating chapter. So again, you'll see there's titles. We have Chapter 100, which is the Medicaid program. This is for all providers, and it is a requirement to have read over before your enrollment, and also keeping very handy throughout your time that you're enrolled with Medicaid. And then you'll find that associated policy chapter depending on what provider type you are enrolling. So Chapter 100, Chapter 700, which is for rates and supplemental reimbursement. Chapter 3300, down here, program integrity. These are 3 chapters in addition to your own specific policy chapter I recommend you have handy. So again, Chapter 100, 700, and 3300. All right, so I'm going to jump back to the top of this page. Under Resources, the next thing that I'm going to click on is Rates. So under Rates, the rates are not going to be set by the fiscal agent. So sometimes I get calls, I get emails saying, why aren't these codes approved? Or why is this rate on this specific code not high enough? Unfortunately, I do not have any part in setting those rates. That gets reviewed by a lot of people, but mostly it's going to be the rates department within the DHCFP. So this is our rates page. Should you have questions about those rates, here is contact information. We also have quadrennial rate reviews. So we just wrapped one up in August, but that does the quadrennial rate review allows providers to submit their feedback regarding the rates on file and any input you have. So that did already pass for some provider types, but check out those web announcements for any upcoming provider types that are part of that new rate survey in the future. Under quick links on our rates page, we have fee for service fee schedule. I'm going to go ahead and click that under quick links. This will take me to a giant list of fee schedules for each provider type. So this is an Excel document that has the approved payable codes and the rates that they will pay at, if billed appropriately, of course, but this is where you can find those rates for all your provider types. I do want to mention that if you save this Excel and rates get updated, your Excel is not going to be updated. So that's why I'm calling out on where to find this resource on rates page. That way you know how to get back to it. All right, the last thing on the DHCFP site I wanted to make sure we can all access and kind of participate in when there are topics are going to be the public notices. So we have the DHCFP hosts public workshops as well as hearings, which is an opportunity for providers to join, provide feedback, and listen to any upcoming changes and revisions to policy. So this is a really great page. Come in here if you find a provider type that you are enrolled as or interested in. This is a really great place to join. Click in the agenda that will actually have the meeting information and the link on how to join. So that completes the DHCFP site. I'll go ahead and close that. We're going to go back to our Medicaid site. I'm still over here on the right-hand side of our page. In red here, we have the notifications. These notifications are kind of ever changing depending on what we're trying to get out to providers. It's just a really great place where we can broadcast things and update anything that we want you to know. So this is letting you know that the web portal will be down on this date between these times. So again, if it's different from any kind of usual customary dates and times that that's down, we'll have that listed here. We have a known system issues list. So this is going to be kind of also an ongoing list of previous as well as present system issues that are getting updated that affect providers. Still over here on the right-hand side, I just keep scrolling down on our page. The last thing I wanted to mention on the right-hand column is the scheduled site maintenance. So during these times specifically, the web portal and site will be down for updates that get made to it. These are in Pacific Standard Time, so I just want to call this out in case you have any trading partners or any people who are working in different time zones. If they're having issues and errors getting into EBS, it's likely that it's because it's getting updated during the site maintenance. All right, so I'm going to scroll up a little bit more, and now I'm going to hop over to the left-hand side of the Medicaid website. Again, all this information right now that I've covered, still all accessible from that home page that Dina shared with you earlier. So this section over here under featured links, this is where I'm going to be focusing. I'm going to kind of briefly go over these featured links here, but you will hear me mention a couple times that the links under featured links are also found other places, such as this top toolbar up here. So we like to provide a couple ways to get to the same page. That way you're not trying to, have a puzzle getting to the one document you're looking for. So under featured links, the first one here is DHCFP EVV page. This is specific for PCS and waivers that use the EVV system. So we will just skip over that for now. The link directly below that is authorization criteria. So this is where you're going to check to see if a service code requires authorization. So I'm not going to do a whole walkthrough, but I do want to just quickly click into it so you can see. Again, I clicked authorization criteria, opens up on a new page. Come down here under featured links and clicking authorization criteria again. Selecting your code type, your procedure, provider type, and then you'll click search. Again, I'm not going into too much detail here. We do offer a prior authorization overview training that if you do have more questions on prior authorization, I do recommend signing up for that course. Under featured links, still, we have the DHCFP home link. We just accessed that from the top right-hand corner, but this is another way that you can access that same page. We have the EDI information. I'm going to skip over this now, but I'm going to access that up here on the top toolbar in just a moment. We have the EVS user manual. Also going to skip over that for now. We're going to access that from this top toolbar in just a moment. The modernization project. Also, this link here is going to be that same link to that just modernization issues, projects, and systems that we have going on. The online provider enrollment. So for those of you that said you are not enrolled yet, this link here, I'm going to go ahead and click it. Again, from featured links, we clicked online provider enrollment. This page here, this is probably if you have an application and it's not approved yet, or if you haven't started yet, this is where you need to go. This is where you're going to initiate a new provider application, or if you have one in process, you're going to resume. So this is important that this page is very different than the EBS page. They same application, but they just get processed differently. So it's very important that you click here. So keep that in mind. I will go over the enrollment page as well, but I wanted to just make sure, call out that's one way that you can click that online provider enrollment page, also known as OPE. We have the provider login. So if I click this link here, it's going to take me to the login for the EVS, also known as Provider Web Portal. I'm not going to click that now. I'm going to keep moving on. We have the prior authorization link here. This link here will also take you to the EVES, the provider portal login. So it doesn't take you to prior auth information. It does take you to the provider portal to submit your authorization. We have this search fee schedule. The search fee schedule is kind of an online version way to review the Excels that I showed you just a minute ago on the DHCFP site. So if we click search fee schedule, come down here, procedure type, just as an example, put in your CPT or dental code, whatever it may be, select the service category that is your provider type, and then click search. And then from the search results, you'll see the fee amount for these and specialties associated with it. So that is how you check the fees under featured links. Under featured links still, we just looked at search fee schedule. We have search providers. So this is a great way if, for example, you're in Vegas and your recipient's moving to Reno and you need to refer them to another provider type with such whatever services you're looking for, you can find that. Claims. This will also take you to the login for the provider web portal, the EVS portal. Trading partner, if you have a trading partner, also known as a clearinghouse, also known as someone that electronically submits claims for you using like 835, 837 files, this is where your trading partner can access information on enrollment and the steps for that. And then last but not least, under featured links, we have our self-paced training videos. I'm going to go ahead and click on it quickly so I can show you that. This YouTube page has a lot of really good resources based on the different topics that you may be looking for. So you can look up playlists or you can view all. If you need help in EVS, again, that provider web portal, this is a 11-part series and you can kind of navigate depending on the topic that you're looking for. If you're trying to register and you haven't registered for EVS, check out video number 1. So on and so forth. I do recommend checking it out if you need any kind of additional support on different variety of topics. Oh, right. The next thing I'm going to move to is this top toolbar. So this dark blue banner on the very top of the screen. We're going to start by looking under the provider tab. And again, won't be clicking on every single page because we already clicked on some under featured links. But under the provider tab, web announcements and newsletters, we already clicked on that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on billing information. The billing information page is going to house a lot of important information regarding to billing as well as claims. So I do want to make sure that you all can access this page. The remittance advice reference material, the claims error EOB code crosswalk. This document here is a great resource for you if you're already at the point where you're submitting claims and you're getting errors on your claims and you're not sure kind of the follow-up from that. If you're not there, skip over what I'm saying, but if you are there, please, I recommend you clicking into this document, looking up the code that you received on your EOB from Medicaid and kind of looking at what it references here on this guide. Really wonderful document. Under billing manuals, we have the billing manual. Crazy idea, but the billing manual is going to be the kind of guide for all provider types. It's not specific to your enrolled provider type. The table of contents is really great and has different chapters and the titles that each chapter pertains to, and it is hyperlinked. So if I'm coming down here and maybe I'm looking at prior authorizations and ways to request one, or if I'm looking for the submission deadlines on submitting a DME request and how far out that start date needs to be. This chapter, I would just easily click on here, click this, takes me directly to that section within the billing manual. I love this guide. It's really handy. So I do recommend keeping that just starred or just remember how we got here again, providers, billing information, and now it's the billing manual. Just as equally as important are your billing guidelines by provider type. So depending on that 2-digit code that you are already enrolled as or you will soon be enrolled as, these are the billing guides corresponding to that provider type. So provider type, I saw 85 for applied behavioral. ABA services, this is your billing guide specific to those. This billing guide outlines what your policy chapters are, how to find rates, authorization requirements, how to submit claims. High level, doesn't like super detailed, but it is a high level overview for both of those. Next thing I'm going to go to, under providers on that top toolbar again, I'm hovered over providers. We're going to go to forms. On the forms page, this is where we can find associated forms for those authorizations that are going to be submitted, or you can also find forms for submitting appeals, and just kind of where all the forms that you are required to have, I would say 99% of those will be located here. They're in numerical order, so depending on your provider type and what your billing guide says to use, this is where you can find those forms. And all the forms live on the forms page. Crazy to think that. Next, back up here on the top toolbar, I'm going to click on provider training. Provider training is where you can kind of get in touch with the field reps, kind of more of a one-on-one type of training to go over both policy or claims, or if you need help with the enrollment or authorization, kind of understanding how that all works. We're more than happy to schedule that with you. You can figure out who your field rep is by clicking this link up here. You can also email. If you don't do that, you don't have to proactively go check to see who your field rep is. You are welcome to just email this address right here. I'll go ahead and put that in chat so we have it. When you're emailing, just make sure that you include your MPI, please. That way, the person who is working that inbox knows where to send, what field rep to send your inquiry to, as well as just an overview of what you're asking. So it helps us to know, are you asking about enrollment or claims or prior auth? Again, those details really do help us when we're trying to plan for our trainings. All right, on this page, the other things I just wanted to quickly show were the training calendar. And still on the training page, what I wanted to show you was the LMS. So that's where you signed up today for new provider orientation. But you can sign up for additional courses like I showed you on that web announcement. We have prior auth training and secondary claims training coming up. So I do want to encourage you that you go back to that LMS, that Absorb site, where again, you can sign up for these additional training courses. Back up here on that top toolbar, I want to quickly hover over EVS. I want to show you where you can find those EVS user manuals. So earlier I showed you how to get to our YouTube page, which go over all of these same topics. This is a more what's it called? Just like a PDF version of those YouTube videos, maybe a little less detailed because on those YouTube videos we do get in to explain all the fields as you're going through. But these EVS user manuals are still really helpful. For those of you who asked for claims training, we have many resources. So you have the YouTube page where you can go to the claims chapter, you can go to the claims specific section. We have claims specific actual YouTube videos. And then we also have, again, this EVS user manual you can reference for submitting claims. So many different ways that you can help yourself. And should you need additional training after checking out those resources, again, you can reach out to the training inbox. Just under the EVS user manual, we have the provider login. So this is where you're going to get logged into your provider web portal. So for those of you who are not enrolled yet, you will not have a user, you won't have any kind of login. You do need to be actively enrolled with Nevada Medicaid before you can register for the EVS portal. If you are enrolled and you haven't registered with your EVS portal, you just super easy, you just click that button that says register now and it kind of walks you through those additional steps to create that EVS portal. If you need more help, like I said, you have those YouTube videos as well as the EVS chapters to kind of help navigate step by step on how to register for your EVS portal. Each MPI has their own EVS login. So if you're a group, if you're an individual, each different MPI has their own login. Up here on the top toolbar, the next thing that I wanted to go over, just kind of quickly share, is that on the claims page, there's a couple ways you can get to this page. I skipped over it twice already, but we have our EDI page. So should you have that trading partner, I'm not sure if anyone on the call is in that point, so I don't want to spend too much time on it, but if you do have a trading partner and they need additional resources or help getting set up or how to do testing, this is a really great page to show them for the user guide as well as the EDI companion guides. Under quick links up here on that top toolbar, everything here that I need to cover is already covered. So we have that that MSM chapter and the rates units are the two things that I use pretty regularly under quick links to get to. So rates unit will take you to the rates page on DHCFP site. And then that Medicaid Service Manual MSM, that'll take you to the policy page that we reviewed earlier on the DHCFP site. We have our calendar page. This kind of tells you upcoming what we have scheduled for the month. Sometimes the month following isn't yet posted, but these are all the dates in November are posted in your LMS where you can sign up for today's training. Any additional trainings that we have in October are here. So if you have questions about prior auth overview, great training. If you're enrolling as an individual, not a group, this is a great training. Enrollment overview is generally geared for providers that are already enrolled, but if we have providers that are not enrolled, it will kind of allow us to change it up a little bit to what you're needing. So calendar's handy, but again, you're going to register for all of these that you see on the calendar if you have any from the LMS site, not from this. This is just kind of informational to let you know what's upcoming. And from there, I'm actually going to just quickly go over to our LMS. I do want to show you a couple more things here. This is the site that you signed up for today's MPO. You'll see your own name here when you get logged in. When we're here, again, click that catalog to see what's upcoming. So let's see here, catalog, Nevada Medicaid. From here, you probably won't have the four options that I do. You're only going to have these bottom two virtual instructor-led provider trainings, as well as the YouTube. So for some reason, if your computers have restriction on watching YouTube videos, you can come here and watch those same videos just in a video format, not on the YouTube page. So you should not have any restrictions viewing them here. These are the videos. When you enroll, it's just a watch at your own time, at your own pace video. And if should you like to sign up for any additional provider trainings, virtual trainings like we're hosting today, you can do so by clicking from any of these options that are relevant to your provider type. So that's that. I wanted to show you in your new provider orientation today. Let me find that. We'll go to view. If you click in your resources tab, you're going to see this new provider orientation takeaway. So this is going to be a document that kind of is a quick link access to a lot of the pages that we already clicked on and reviewed today. So if you want to keep that handy, a really great resource to have as well. All right, so that leads us back over to the slide deck. I did say I was going to show you some additional contacts with you. Also on the contact page, but just wanted to have this big up and open so you can view that. Hopefully you've had a moment to write that down or a screenshot, whatever you need to do. Here's that same email address, Nevada Provider Training at Gainwell Technology. All right. So that does conclude today's new provider orientation.